I think this video is just going to totally replace my other video about COPPA, so here's an even shorter summary than before about what the situation is. YouTube content creators now must mark their videos as either for kids or not for kids in accordance to COPPA and an agreement with the FTC and YouTube. And a lot of the worries from this have stemmed from the uncertainty of what that means and who the consequences are going to be geared towards. But as it turns out, the FTC provided some much needed clarity on the subject on the 22nd in a blog post on their official website, and I want to share a little bit of what I've found because it's eased pretty much all of my worries. I still think COPPA is probably going to suck for channels that are actually geared towards young children, but as far as my channels are concerned and the channels of basically everybody I watch, I think it's going to be okay. So I have that blog post linked in the description if you want to read the whole thing. I'm just going to go over the parts that I feel are more relevant. The FTC says, to be clear, your content isn't considered directed to children just because some children may see it. However, if your intended audience is kids under 13, you're covered by COPPA and have to honor the rules requirements. That alone says a lot that we needed to hear. Let's continue. First, unless you're affirmatively targeting kids, there are many subject matter categories where you don't have to worry about COPPA. For example, if your video is about traditionally adult activities like employment, finances, etc., you're probably not covered unless your content is geared towards kids. The same would be true for videos aimed at high school or college students. On the other hand, if your content includes traditional children's pastimes or activities, it may be child-directed. For example, the FTC recently determined that an online dress-up game was child-directed. That, to me, makes a lot of sense. Now, this next part is especially pertinent. Second, just because your video has bright colors or animated characters doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA. While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognizes there can be animated programming that appeals to everyone. So by that logic, I'm pretty sure just about everything that I've uploaded is safe. It has been pretty easy to write off the FTC as a bunch of boomers who don't understand anything about the modern age, but they also say yes, the FTC is currently evaluating the rule in light of rapid changes in technology. I would go further than that and say rapid changes in technology and culture, but even still, they're considering the modern age, and that's nice. Now, these are the parts that I still have some concerns about. If the content is directed to children and if the channel owner or someone on its behalf collects personal information from viewers of that content, the channel is covered by COPPA. The or someone on its behalf part is the part that I wish had a little bit more clarity because I don't know if it has to be a specific network like the Game Station or Normal Boots or a sponsor like Audible or something, or if it could technically apply to YouTube as a whole. I doubt that's the case, but it might be something that I bring up in a comment to the FTC anyway. The other thing is, the rule allows for civil penalties of up to $42,530 per violation, so that number is confirmed now, but the FTC considers a number of factors in determining the appropriate amount, including a company's financial condition and the impact a penalty could have on its ability to stay in business. The way that's written, it sounds like it's only supposed to be applying this to companies and not to individual creators, but again, I just wish for more clarity on the matter, because I personally would rather not have to pay any money. I don't like the idea of having to pay civil penalties of even up to like $10, because that would be, well, really just more of an inconvenience than anything on what I consider to be a free website. But yeah, for the most part, I'm cool with this. I think this is fine. So expect me to release my final school animation project in December here on YouTube. Hopefully I can do it